Hello, I'm Dominic Taylor, the acting chair of the Department of Theater at UCLA School of Theater, Film, and Television. Welcome to the UCLA Design Showcase West Student Gallery featuring the class of 2021. For the past 18 years, we have been the only national entertainment design showcase on the West Coast featuring the work of graduate students from top university design programs. As we know, the term design comes from the Latin designare, signare meaning to mark, and de meaning out. To mark out, to intentionally signify in a world that too often operates without any intention is crucial today and always. Designers are people that are not metaphorically, but literally and significantly making their marks in the world. Young leaders in this area of collaborative medias frame ideas for our audiences so they can apply intentionality to humanity. DSW has a long history of directors, producers, designers in film, television, theater, and new media coming to the UCLA campus to meet the rising stars of theatrical design and to see exhibits in a wide range of disciplines. Even though we cannot be together this year, we continue to connect you to outstanding talent, just as our event has done in the past. With our Guild partners, we are presenting an exhibition of high caliber student work as a digital experience. You can review this work from the comfort and your safety of your home, which I know some of you really enjoy. Please take your time to review the remarkable work on this site in every discipline in school. Each designer is excited to be represented here and ready to share their creativity with each one of you. These young artists are on a journey where they are intentional collaborators trying to make important contributions to their areas of design. They're intending to help change the national and international conversation. Their creativity is a window into their individual worlds, but more importantly, a portal into how we can change our world. These young artists are not only the future, but they are also our necessary present. I'd like to thank our corporate sponsors and our industry partners, and please enjoy Design Showcase West. It is with great pleasure that I introduce Hannah Biekler, who will give some inspiring words to our DSW participants. Ms. Biekler is an American film production designer who has worked in a variety of forms. She worked on the 2015 Rocky film Creed, the Miles Davis biopic Miles Ahead, and she has also worked on the beautiful film Moonlight. She also worked on Beyonce's 2016 TV special and visual album Lemonade. She is probably most noted for her Academy Award-winning Afrofuturist design direction on the movie Black Panther. She was the first African-American woman to win this prestigious award. Without further ado, Ms. Hannah Biekler.
I want to welcome everyone to the Design Showcase West. And on your way into the world, I just want to say that one of the most important things for me was finding a place. I learned that from Ryan Coogler about how important place is to us. And it goes beyond just where you live. Find a place to thrive, find a place of peace and rest, find a place of trust and safety, find a place to reflect, a place to go, that's your future, a place to leave, that's your past, a place to call home, and that's anywhere that you are. And in those places you will thrive. It's our community, it's our family, it's our society, it's our planet. That's our place. And when you find your place in design, you find your place in whichever industry you go into, or you find yourself, find the place that best suits you and allows you to be who you are. That is the most important thing. That is how we thrive. And then be the place of safety and thriving and rest and peace for somebody else. And if we can continue that through the world, we all win, because design is everywhere. Design is our place in this world. There isn't anything that design does not touch in our lives, from the clothes that we wear to the car that we drive to the pen that we write with to the sidewalk we walk on. It's civics, it's architecture, it's storytelling, it's nurturing. So find your place in the world and go into the future, finding place. Good luck, and everything is there for you to take however you see. Thank you.
I now have the great thrill to introduce our keynote speaker, Ms. Ruth E. Carter. Ms. Carter's unparalleled ability to develop an authentic story through costume and character has made her one of the most sought after and renowned costume designers today. She has garnered 3 Academy Award nominations for Best Costume Design for Spike Lee's Malcolm X, Steven Spielberg's Amistad, and Ryan Coogler's Black Panther. She won the Academy Award for Black Panther. An Emmy nomination in 2016 for the reboot of Roots is also part of her portfolio. She has worked in the industry for over 3 decades and has been credited with over 40 films and counting. Carter and Spike Lee have worked on over 10 films together, beginning with School Days and including Do the Right Thing, Malcolm X, and Old Boy. Known for her research and diligence to the craft, particularly for her outstanding work for period ensemble films like the highly praised Lee Daniels' The Butler and Ava DuVernay's Selma. Most recently, her work was seen in Coming to America 2. One of the true master designers working today, it is an honor and a privilege to introduce Ms. Ruth E. Carter.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair Dominique Taylor and Dr. Deborah Naduleman Landis for inviting me to the UCLA Design Showcase West. I'm excited to talk about costume design with you. My journey probably isn't too dissimilar to your journey in some ways, but we all have a way of going about design, and I'm excited to share my journey with you. Here I am in college. I'm on the stage. I wanted to be an actress at some point, and I'm a thespian there and loving the process of creating these characters and performing. But soon after, I realized that actual design would allow me to explore all the characters of a piece, of a play, not just the one that I was portraying. Here I am on the set of Black Panther 35 years later, and I'm examining a costume with the director, Ryan Coogler, before he's to perform a couple of days later. So, but my journey obviously didn't begin with Marvel films, and nowhere near that. I started in independent films with Spike Lee. I love the filmmaking process. I love the storytelling process. And some people may think that my interest peaked where I was loving fashion, Dior, any of the high fashion designs or Barbie, but it wasn't any of that. It was reading playwrights and poets, James Baldwin, Nikki Giovanni, and really understanding the characters that they were painting. And I could actually see them and was interested in bringing those characters to life. My first experience with film was on School Days with Spike Lee. We'd both gone to an HBCU, and so the experience of it was not unfamiliar to us. So the designs were really a lot of fun to do because we knew this world of the sororities and the fraternities and the step shows. And so it was the perfect first film for me to design because the learning curve was shortened. The research wasn't so far away from my grasp. And we worked tirelessly with different types of fraternity designs and so on. And I went on to do many films with Spike Lee after that, 12 films together, and numerous television pilots and commercials. So it's really where I started with a real film family and learning the art of design through the opportunity to try different experiments. of color with Do the Right Thing. We created a very saturated palette that was a little more surreal than the day-to-day world, real world in Brooklyn, Bed-Stuy, New York. But we saturated the colors so that we could see the heat of the color, so that we could feel the heat and the sweat. Um, and then I bounced back and forth throughout my career between New York, working with Spike Lee at 40 Acres and a Mule, and back to my studio apartment in Koreatown, Los Angeles. And I'd worked with Angela Bassett. I've done 5 or 6 films with her. But Tina Turner was a really special film for us. Her intensity and how she prepared for her character really did inspire me to watch all of the details and bring a lot of things I saw through Tina Turner's life, embodied in Angela, as well as the work that was done in designing Malcolm X. A lot of research went into it. It covered 5 decades. It did cover a man's life from start to finish. And it was important to design the color palette and the arc of his story in a way that in 2 hours would give you a true sense of how this iconic leader and a leader of the Nation of Islam, how his story unfolded. And once I received an Oscar nomination for Malcolm X, I felt like Hollywood began to take notice. And it's kind of a shame that I felt that way, but I was really doing mostly independent films before the nomination, working 2 films a year, bouncing back and forth between New York and LA. But then I got called by Steven Spielberg and Debbie Allen to come in and design Amistad. So Amistad really kind of got me acclimated into like the Hollywood system. And there was quite a lot to discover and to bring into the design of Amistad. So I think that though, through my theater experience, I knew how to research, I knew how to bring these characters to life. And so the journey really did involve a lot of art history and diligent research for this project. And then we come to my work in Black Panther, which I feel was the culmination of everything that I had experienced from before and up to this point. Black Panther was a very big project. It involved a lot of work that not only was creating a new world, a new place, Wakanda, that was fictitious, and thinking of it in an Afrofuturistic way. It also involved a lot of processes that were new to me. But this was a practical set. This set was real. We dressed these background, which is not unusual in the film or any kind of costume department. You dress background. But we were also dressing people in a way that was Wakandan. And so we had to define what the Wakandan way was. And so here you see where Wakanda sits. But it's not real. Sad to say, you can't go there. You can't take a bus or plane to Wakanda. It's totally fictitious, made up by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. And we took the idea that they had and expounded on it. And we divided it up by tribes, and there were very specific tribes that we were to be inspired by. So we had a border tribe that was inspired by the Lesotho people of South Africa. They have these beautiful blankets that are gifted to them from the king, and they've been in their village, in their culture for hundreds of years. And Ryan Coogler loved these blankets and wanted to incorporate them in the design of our film and give them to the border tribes. So we did these illustrations that we modernized, and we did that for all of the tribes. This is our merchant tribe that was inspired by the Tuareg of Mali, and we modernized. This is how they played out at the Warrior Falls. The process was to really get into all of the details, as well as to present them, in their traditional way at the Warrior Falls, and show them in modern ways as well. So here you see more designs from Black Panther. Again, this is the miners. They had a very specific color palette that we combined. The Himba tribe, you see Connie with her Himba inspired headpiece and leather bits. And she's standing next to her warrior at the Warrior Falls. We actually made his headpiece out of like a Pier 1 placemat, beaded placemat, and added the fur around it. So many tribes were part of the inspirations for our design work in Black Panther. You can't look at the tribal customs of Africa and not be inspired by some things or many things. Here, we're inspired by the Samburu and the Turkana to create the artisan tribe. And again, here is our river tribe, which was inspired by the Suri and the Surma tribe of Southwest Africa. And Lupita Nyong'o, her character was from that particular tribe. We submitted many illustrations for these characters, hundreds of illustrations actually, from my department, also from visual development department. On your right, you see a design that is inspired from the Hamar tribe. And then on the left is one that was completely made up. And you see her here in the way that it played out in the film. She's standing next to her elder, who has the lip plate. So again, Black Panther was a behemoth project that required a lot of new processes. Some were the vibranium concept behind the Panther suit, or the printing of the crown for the Queen Ramonda. And so within costume design, the world is changing. The outside world is. So within costume design, there is the idea, and then there is the application. In this case, the idea was we take the Lesotho blankets and we would cover the body with the blanket to not show the weapons. And when they went into battle, they could wish their blanket off of their shoulders or to their backs, and then you would see revealed all of their weapons. So working that out on a drawing and working that out practically were, two different matters, but we managed to design it in a way that it could work. But as I said, several designs are submitted all the time. And we in groups, in meetings, we talk about each design. Here you see some of the designs that were submitted for the Royal Guards. In the middle, you see the Dora Milaje design, which is quite different than what we ended up with. And to your right, you see designs for Shuri. So the Black Panther suit is submitted from the visual development department. And you're basically looking at a sketch. But for me, I needed to see the first Panther suit that was seen in Captain America Civil War. It was the first time it was introduced. And I wanted to see that costume in real life. I brought it into my office and I looked over the surface patterns and I compared it to the new suit that we were about to build. And there was this all over surface pattern, and as well as this veining line that would eventually light up purple in our story. And I was very curious about this surface, the surface of the suit, and how we could bring more of the story into the suit. Also, there were processes like, the muscle suit, how to enhance the muscles, or a lot of layers to building this costume. But it was the surface pattern that I was most intrigued by. And so we developed what we called the Okavango Triangle. And the triangle is like the sacred geometry of Africa. It symbolizes the family, mother, the father, the child. And I also felt that with the veining line that you see circulating around the suit, combined with the Okavango triangle, we would have a tapestry that would connect him to Africa. Along with this, we designed several things that worked in just his everyday life. And one is this Nigerian senator suit, which has the elaborate embroidery around the collar. And we put this on a coat. There's also the Ishikolo, which is the South African married woman's hat that we went into 3D printing on, creating this print in one print, one shape that wouldn't need any assembling. However, the shoulder mantle we did print, and all of these pieces you see colored here, and it was put together in our shop. And this is how it looked in the final results. So coming up with the technologies of working with 3D, working with vacuform, working with muscle sculpt was, the exploration that I went on the first film, as well as some, just practical issues like the blankets. When they arrived, they were a little thick. We had to design a vibranium to one side so that we could use them as shields. And then eventually give Marvel an idea of how these shield blankets would actually work out. But it was very difficult to get them to be supple and move with the stunt players, but we finally figured it out. The Dora Milaje was a fan favorite. Several designs are submitted. The design that was approved was done by Anthony Francisco of the Marvel Visual Development Team. It went way off what we saw in the comics, and by the time it lands with me, I'm discovering things about it that I want to bring into it. Again, this story of Africa, really upping the red, using the properties of what we see here from the Himba tribe, how they use all the parts of the calf or the cow to make their clothes, to sustenance for them to eat. They use all the parts of it. So I really wanted this costume to speak to Africa as well. So the elements of beadwork and leather work were important to associate with the same techniques that they used in parts of Africa and the tribes that would define them. A lot of beadwork in Africa is symbolic. And so I felt like the tabard in the front of the Dora Milaje costume could actually be something that would be handed down and be like a harness around the suit. So in doing so, we were honoring the female form by creating a piece that went around the body and in ways that were outlining the beauty of the female form. And this is how that costume ended up. We also examined some ideas about scarification. And so in the bust, in the bodysuit, on the arms, there's a repeat pattern that is raised, like the scarification. And in many ways, it was an effort to retrain the eye to see other forms of beauty. And that's how I was able to take history, customs, culture, and turn it into a superhero model. And in many ways, we talk about Afrofuture in our design a lot. And I feel that in many ways, I saw how Spike Lee saw his Afrofuture when he was directing Do the Right Thing or even writing it. Ava DuVernay with Selma, she was witnessing her own Afrofuture. And Black Panther, I feel, was the ultimate in bringing Afrofuture to the screen. It was using hard science and also culture and reimagining it in a superhero model. Thank you.
I'd like to thank you all for taking time to watch our event, and I hope that you thoroughly enjoyed it. Please make sure to look at our gallery and see some of the best young designers of today and tomorrow. We will be back live next year for Design Showcase West's 20th anniversary, and we look forward to seeing you then. Thanks again for visiting this digital presentation this year. Take care, be safe, and we look forward to seeing you next year. Have a wonderful day.